You're watching Fox 10 Phoenix. Now,
here come the top stories of the morning and the very latest now, with more new details emerging about the man arrested and charged in the deadly shooting of the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, Brian Thompson.
26-year-old Luigi Mangione, he is now has been taken into custody. It was at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania after a customer recognized him from a surveillance photo and then called police. The Altoona Police Department says officers found a gun, multiple fake IDs, and writings that were on him. He is also charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm, forgery, and providing false identification to police.
Was initially cooperative. He is not now, and so he has been arraigned and transported and will be securely housed.
Mangione will eventually be extradited to face charges in New York. His family did release a statement saying they are, quote, shocked and devastated. This morning, we are hearing, in fact, from a Valley man here in Arizona who went to high school with Mangione as well.
Now, his name is Corey Way. He tells Fox 10 he's been following the story very closely. So you can imagine his shock when the arrest was made. He says that he and Luigi Mangione graduated from Gilman School, class of 2016, a private all-boys school in Baltimore. He describes it as a smaller high school with only about 85 to 100 students in each grade. And nothing unusual about Mangione stood out to Way all those years, which might be why it didn't ever occur to him that he could be the suspect that was being looked for around the country. That wasn't until he saw the mugshot of him being taken in.
He was like a leader in our class, so I'm not quite sure the exact clubs because it's a while back, but he was like a leader of clubs. He was in many clubs. He was also like a soccer player as well. I had no hindrance that it was him. I mean, in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like that face is familiar, but it was like subconsciously, not really like on the forefront.
Way tells Fox 10 that he briefly kept in contact with Mangione after graduation, but says he hasn't spoken to him in about 4 years' time. Any new developments on that story, we'll bring them to you. But now on to the high country, where police in Flagstaff are asking for your help, finding two men who may have been involved in a shooting.
Take a look here. We have some photographs for you this morning. They are accused of shooting a man after an argument last Friday. Officers say Riley Sinea and Detri Sinea are brothers. They are considered armed and dangerous. I know it's a little fuzzy, some of these photographs, but some of them give you a good idea of at least some of their features. If you know anything about their whereabouts, please call Flagstaff Police.
President-elect Donald Trump continues to put together his new administration to try to be ready to go on day one.
And now an Arizona Republican has emerged as a top contender for his ambassador to Mexico. The New York Post reporting Trump is considering Kari Lake for this role. Lake has never served in public office. She lost the race for Arizona governor back in 2022 and the race for Arizona's Senate seat this year. Lake has not commented on this report. Trump's ambassador to Mexico will likely play a significant part in his plan to deport millions of undocumented migrants.
Meantime, his pick for defense secretary may have turned his fortunes around. Pete Hegseth will return to Capitol Hill today in an effort to try to gain more support from senators for his nomination. He may have found some new support now in the key vote of Iowa Republican Senator and veteran of the U.S. military, Joni Ernst. She has been skeptical of Hegseth, but appears to be open to his nomination after their meeting on Monday, calling it positive.
It does not mean it's, a done deal by any chance. I think his hearing is going to be extremely important. But I think if you're him, you're feeling really good.
Now, former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard and South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem will be making the rounds today on the Hill. Gabbard is the pick for DNI, Director of National Intelligence, while Noem was picked to lead the Department of Homeland Security. Republicans will have the numbers in the Senate to potentially confirm anyone, but the margins could be tight.
We have a breaking story that we've been following for you this morning, and there are plenty of college students here in Arizona that attend Pepperdine University in the Malibu, California area. These are live images there of the hills in and around Malibu. A wildfire is burning out of control in this part of California. The blaze started late last night, has already ripped through more than 1,600 acres. Pretty scary thought as well, all across social media. There are students on Pepperdine's campus sharing videos of how close the flames are. Mandatory evacuations are in place for some 6,000 people here in Malibu, and Pepperdine University, as I mentioned, they have now issued a campus-wide shelter in place. Classes are canceled today. We'll make sure we know plenty of you have children who attend Pepperdine. We'll keep you updated throughout the day on how this blaze is going.
Well, here we are in the valley, waking up to ever cooler temperatures. And now get this, freeze warnings are in effect in parts of the state.
Yeah, it is wickedly cold in our higher elevations, though Danielle is live at Payastoa Peak this morning. Folks may want some hot chocolate at the end of their hike. There are some early birds, Danielle, who head up the hill very, very early in the morning.
There are some early birds, but I don't think they're going to be drinking hot chocolate, because everybody I spoke to out here says that once they get off the mountain, they're actually hot because they warm up so quickly. But yeah, it is actually very cold out here. I have to say, we start our live shots at 4:30 in the morning, and this is definitely the chilliest morning that I've experienced so far. But yes, as you guys mentioned, plenty of people still hitting the mountain today. The parking lot still has quite a few cars out here. We did see some flashlights going up the hill when we got here very early this morning. A lot of people, I have to say, are not too bundled up. But as I mentioned, they say, right when you get on the mountain, about 5 to 10 minutes after you guys are going there, they have to take off those sweatshirts because they eventually get a little warm out here. And then they said right when that sun starts coming up, the temperatures rise very quickly out here. So it doesn't seem like these chilly temperatures are keeping people off the mountain. They are enjoying it out here. We did speak with one guy. He is from Russia, and he was saying that this is actually pretty warm compared to where he's from for this time of year. But we also spoke with two other guys. They come out here pretty much every single day. They say these temperatures are just, it's cold. They just wear a hat, wear some gloves, a scarf, anything like that. And then, of course, once they're making their way up the mountain, they have to start taking those layers off because they do get warm. Take a listen.
It's a little cool. Yeah, I've got a hat on. Yeah, it's cool out here today, but it'll get warm. And with hiking with my buddies, we'll get warm halfway up, and then I'll probably take off this and we'll get up there and maybe we'll take our shirts off, and so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
The way Arizona is, as soon as the sun comes up, it warms up. But since I'm starting so early, it's cold. Well, I'll heat up once I start going up the mountain.
What's nice is to get up there before the sun gets up. You see the colors, and then the aurora, and then that's there. And then when the sun hits you, it really feels invigorating. And then coming down can be fun. You can even run down, and you feel really want to warm up. You can run down.
Yep, you can definitely run down, and the sun is just now peeking over the mountain here, getting on the other mountainside. You guys can see a few hikers heading up right now, a few people heading down. So the cooler temperatures not keeping people away from the mountain, but not sure if these are going to be sticking around, these very cold temperatures. When we got out of the car this morning, just now to do this live shot, it was about 46 degrees. So yeah, not sure if those are going to be sticking around.
Well, the leader of a polygamous group near the Arizona-Utah border, Samuel Bateman, has been sentenced. He got 50 years in prison.
Bateman pled guilty to charges of kidnapping and conspiracy for orchestrating a plan to transport underage girls across state lines. The girls were taken as, quote, wives by members of that group, some as young as 9 years old. Some of those girls addressed the judge before the sentencing was handed down. We did speak to a couple who works with these girls, helping them to move forward in life. They called those statements powerful.
It moved me. It moved my heart, especially some of those girls even saying that they had forgiveness for him after such heinous crimes against them.
This isn't the last of the legal maneuvering here in this case. The trial of one of Bateman's wives is coming up next month, and 2 other men will be sentenced later this month.
The trial date has been set for an accused serial rapist case here in the Valley. James E. Stepp is accused in half a dozen sex assault cases between September of 2018 and August of this year. The judge ruling his trial will start January 7th. Now, he had been arrested in Mesa last year, but was released because prosecutors felt at the time they didn't have enough evidence to charge him.
Well, the search continues for an inmate who escaped from an eastern Arizona jail. Officials from the White Mountain Apache tribe say Brandon Sanchez was one of 6 inmates who got out. The other 5 have all been captured. It's still unclear how the men escaped. If you have any information about where they could be, please call the White Mountain Apache Police. A new report projects billions of dollars in returns for 2024. The report comes from the National Retail Federation. Retailers project 17% of their merchandise sales will be sent back to customers, or by customers, that is, totaling $890 billion. That is up 2% from last year's return rate. Business experts say the boom in online shopping is playing a role in the rise in returns. Maybe that turtleneck just did not fit quite right.
Hey, some new dollars that could help the gradual, slow completion of Interstate 11. Senators Mark Kelly and Kirsten Sinema announcing $26 million as part of the bipartisan infrastructure deal. The I-11 is projected to run from here in Arizona up toward Wickenburg and then eventually on into Las Vegas and north from there. So these funds will expand lanes on US 93 in Wickenburg, which, you know, if you've driven through that area, it's a real bottleneck as you're trying to hit the highway going up toward Las Vegas. So the game plan is to try to complete the I-11, but there are plenty of funding issues to get there.
All right, Ron. Well, here's the next story that you've been, protesting for decades.
Yeah.
New details announced on a proposed passenger rail line between Phoenix and Tucson.
Now, was I protesting for or against?
For.
Oh, okay.
I know you did. I guess it has a bit of a negative connotation, right? But I know you want more lanes on the 10.
Just one extra lane. Come on.
I know. ADA announcing an executive leadership team, though, Ron. Have they called you yet?
No, but so you're saying they're going to have some meetings?
Yes.
I see.
You love meetings. Everybody loves more meetings.
Yeah.
The team will lead the study, include state, county, and Amtrak officials. The next steps include determining the number of stops, where exactly they would be located. I'm guessing one in Casa Grande.
Okay.
One in Marana.
They got to at least include Casa Grande. You know, if that's where you wanted to get off and you're like, hey, that was my stop.
Yeah, you got a Chick-fil-A and you got a mall in Casa Grande.
We need some high-speed rails.
We do.
We really do.
In the desert.